I've had older women, and I look back upon it, and technically they could get in trouble with the law. I remember in LA, they have Pink's. It's a donut place. Maybe you've heard of it. And when I didn't have much money, I would go to this hot dog place, and people leave their food, and I take it. Pizza joints are really good at this too.
Okay, go ahead.
If you're desperate, because families go into the pizza joint and sometimes they don't finish it, and there it is. They just throw it away anyway, right? So I was there, and I was eating. I think I sat down. Sometimes I even paid for it. And this lady came over. She had lots of jewelry, and her hair was frizzy. And she said, "Could she sit with me?" And we got talking, and I needed a ride back to Los Feliz Boulevard. We ended up at a hotel called the Hermitage. Oh man, they had a pool on the top, and it's French. It's in Beverly Hills. And now, how old was she? She was a little chubby, and she was in her mid-40s, and she was married. So, where were my principles? I was thinking, let's see where this goes. And she kept making a big deal. And oh man, oh man, oh man, we went to that fancy hotel, and we had room service, and yeah, we had good loving her, and oh man.
All right, listen, that doesn't mean there's guilt by association. But again, if you add this to all the other stuff, smoke, there's fire at some point, right?
Yeah.
At least enough for someone to look into it.
Later on, I cleaned pools and did some things, and anyway.
Jesus Christ.
The place had a pool?
Weird, right? I mean, I'm drinking this Moet champagne, and I'm going to the roof. They had this pool, and she would buy me clothes. They had all these shops nearby, and then I'm kicked out.
Okay, so they have 13-year-olds telling them to stand by the pool.
Meanwhile, their parents are at some fucking seminar that the people basically, we're going to put your parents in a room and we know they're busy for an hour. Right. You know what I mean? Like, hey, why don't you go outside, have this seminar, and I'll take your kids to the pool. Do you understand how freaking strange that sounds? Like in the family I grew up in? Oh my God. Like, do you understand my mom? Like, my mom, you know, she indulged a couple of my stupid impulses when I was a kid. Sure, yeah, you'll be a president someday, you'll be an actor, whatever. My mom dragged me around to some dumb things and indulged my little dreams. But if some guy was like, hey, I'm going to bring little Mikey out to the pool, why don't you go take this seminar? My mom would be like, no, you're not taking my child to a pool. Weirdo.
Now, what was the age range of the people that went to these at these camps?
Back then, it was about 21 years ago, I guess.
We read a story that they had these boot camps before. Are the kids left alone at any point with just the producers or anything like that?
Later on in L.A., I had some money. I got drunk with this guy, and he said, come in my tent to sleep. And when I woke up, the guy had stolen just about all my money, except some money I kept in a Wellington boot. And, oh man, wow, reality, right?
You know, and that's where it starts, you know, and then by the time they're up there, you know, Weinstein is more of the same. It's, this is what I did to get on all that, so this is what I have to do to get an Oscar.
I became a pool boy because I was looking in the paper, and this guy in the paper advertised for maintenance work, and I showed up. And if you've been in Hollywood, there's all these different neighborhoods, and there's a older part of Hollywood, way back of Hollywood Boulevard, and they have these old mansions that you see in the movies, and man, they were from long time ago, right? And he was black.
and it keeps happening, and there's more creepy things, and then you hear like, when these paid off, NDAs get signed, and people don't want to complain because there's a stigma behind it, and they're afraid that if. Just go ahead.
This guy let me stay in his apartment, and I slept on the couch, and sometimes he was a dope dealer, and I would transport marijuana for him. This guy took his hand and his fingers and rammed it up my butt, and he was masturbating. I think it was probably more than an hour. It was win-win. He let me express myself, and it was a win-win, and we were cool. And when Ross Dog went after me, then Click did.
So I have another question too regarding like your mom, and obviously you guys had a rough day or two, I'm sure, back at home, and you probably hated her guts, but you guys pretty tight now? I mean, obviously you appreciate her in retrospect being a little older, I would assume.
And there was a phone booth I remembered because I used to be a dishwasher for some of these restaurants if they were short. And they would pay in cash. And I remembered there was a phone booth by this famous restaurant, Musso and Frank's. And, I was depressed, and I went to that phone booth, and I dialed my mama, Colette. And I hadn't heard from her a month. I had just taken off, and, when she heard my voice, she started crying, and everything got emotional, and she started crying, and I didn't cry. I just teared up a little bit, and I said, "Mama."
You see these actresses. Now their kids are acting and stuff, and you don't think that they know what's going on? Come on.